All right, guys. Welcome back. Like I said last week, I was going to do a re-review of Usagi Yojimbo and Power Rangers, and I was not going to work alone on this one because I brought one of my best friends, Matt Dennion, creator of Atomic Rex and other great work. What's up, Matt?
Not much. Doing well. Can't complain very much. I'm excited to do another review with you on some properties that we both really enjoy. So I'm very much looking forward to going over this.
Yeah. Now, I did a review of this last week, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to bring Matt on for another episode. So, Matt, what did you think? You're the guest here. What did you think of the comic?
Overall, I did enjoy it. I liked the comic. I liked the artwork style. Had more of a Scott Pilgrim look to it than we typically get from the Power Rangers. That was interesting to see. I really liked the way that Usagi was portrayed in it, like a true butt kicker and like a warrior, far beyond what a typical human could do. I did think the story was pretty solid. I would like to see a little bit more from it. I know it was a one-shot, so I knew it was going to be an ongoing series. And we got most things I wanted to see. I just would have liked to have seen a little bit more of those things. So a strange case maybe of high quality but low quantity, where overall the finished product is still pretty solid, but the low quantity might have left me wanting a bit more.
Yeah, you see, when I thought of the artwork, I thought of it as a very reminiscent of Akira Toriyama.
Oh, that's true. Yes, yeah. That's true too.
I will say that I think those artists, those two artists, I would love to see them on another Usagi project, or actually, no, I'd love to see them on a Ninja Turtle project.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't mind seeing them do any more projects. I did enjoy the artwork quite a bit.
Yeah. I will say that it is kind of on one hand, it is kind of cool to see a one and done crossover, back in the 90s, early 2000s of these one and done crossovers. We haven't had one of these since the third Batman Spawn crossover. But it is kind of cool.
Yeah,
oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It is kind of cool to have that, it's a one and done kind of story rather than sit around and wait for trade, because while I do prefer to read it all in trade and have a good story, the waiting, to quote Tom Petty, the waiting is the hardest part.
Good quote. So I did enjoy the one and done part of it. I did enjoy most of the interactions between the Rangers and Usagi. I did like the brief kind of battle that they had before they had teamed up. I would like to have seen more of that battle drawn out. In fact, that's kind of my two of my three main complaints would be both the battle between Usagi and the Rangers, which we knew was going to happen before they teamed up. I'd like to have seen a little bit more from it. And then the same with the confrontation at the end when they're taking on the villain would have been my other I'd like to have seen more. And the one thing we didn't get, despite them teasing it, was Usagi in a Ranger form. That's kind of one of the things I really wanted to see.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen Usagi Ranger. Could you just imagine? I can't believe Hasbro passed on that for a toy. That's a toy right there.
Yeah, I was shocked. They did show one of the variant covers. I think had one of the Rangers holding a helmet with a rabbit kind of insignia on it. I don't think they would have gone full ears, more think something like Doggy Kruger, where his helmet just kind of, it really didn't fit his face, but it was all he morphed type of deal. But anyway, I was looking forward to seeing it. We didn't get to see it, so that was kind of a downer in that respect.
Yeah, I did like that, and there are some cool shots in here, Usagi riding,
for sure.
Usagi riding the T-Rex, the Tyrannosaurd.
Yes, that was pretty cool. It was really cool to see the Dragonzord in battle mode, if you don't get in a ton of comics or whatever, is a favorite of a lot of the fans. It was cool to see Jason and Usagi kind of cross swords, and I was hoping for a little more from that, but it was cool to see those things, and to see the Rangers kind of have to deal with somebody who's not morphed or any kind of quote-unquote superpower, but just because he's a rabbit, his speed is so much faster than even them in their Ranger forms. So those are all very positives about the story that I did enjoy.
Yeah. I will say that I found it odd that the storyline we're going, and it is kind of cool. We do get a Jason centric story because it is Tommy that gets all the limelight. I will say that it feels weird that like we're having Jason's having leadership issues. He should by this point he should not be having worries about being a leader of the team at this point, whether it be in the show or the comic.
No, very, very true. It doesn't seem to be canon to any Power Rangers comic or show, where you can say it takes place after this or during this, in terms of the Boom comics. But yeah, it was strange to see Jason struggling where he feels like the team's not listening to him. There was a neat brief interaction with Usagi, kind of showing Jason he's not necessarily seeing the full picture, and that the team, does look at him more than he thinks they do at the current time. But it's not something we typically see Jason struggle with a lot in any iteration. Like you said, he's normally just kind of portrayed as a born leader, even despite the fact that he's a high schooler and relatively young.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, it is just kind of good to have a Jason-centric story rather than, because again, I know everyone loves Tommy and rightfully so, but it never hurts to have the Red Ranger get some spotlight, even though his actor is kind of in trouble.
Oh yeah, well, separate the actor from the character, They're two totally different things. Yes, the actor is not casting himself in the best light, to say the least, right now. But as far as the character, Jason's always been very popular, obviously. So it was cool to see a story with him focused in there. It was a bit reminiscent, him and Usagi, of his interactions with Leonardo in the really good Ninja Turtles crossovers with the Power Rangers. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah. I will say that I wish we got an actual Usagi Yojimbo villain, because I was kind of hoping to see Jay, the blind wolf with the spear.
Yes.
It would have been so cool to see him fight the Rangers.
Yeah, that would have been pretty awesome. And I thought they were sort of teasing in the first few pages with a new pig type monster. They were kind of making jokes about it. But no, we didn't get that. I thought the villain was fine that they used, but I would like to have seen more of a Usagi villain in there. I was also hoping to see Usagi take on, say, Goldar, for instance, or one of the classic Ranger villains. Would have been pretty cool, but they didn't go down that route either.
Yeah, and it's weird because the description says Rita was involved in the mess up. So, but Rita had nothing to do with this.
No, I know. That's what confused me too, because the description clearly said that she was, and then wasn't even mentioned in the story, other than the initial Power Rangers intro where they're fighting one of her monsters. It was kind of the extent of it. Yeah.
I mean, it's a decent book. I didn't walk away going, "Oh, that sucked."
No, for sure. I don't mean to sound like I'm coming down, and I did enjoy it, so I would recommend it for everybody. There is a lot to like about it. Part of, like you had said, is the fact that it is kind of a one-shot, which is nice, without having to commit to something that's going to be ongoing for a while. Especially since companies these days seem to struggle with getting stuff out on a regular pace like that. I just got the notice that the 4th issue of the Ultraman Avengers and pushed back to the end of January. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So that's one example.
Yeah. And I will say 2024 has been a solid year for crossovers being released, like this, Avengers, Aliens, Avengers, Ultraman, Predator versus Black Panther. We've got the upcoming, next year, we had the announcement for Sonic and Justice League, which I'm still why didn't we get TMNT Sonic first? But, that's...
Yeah, I'm with you, but we talked more earlier. I am looking forward to the Sonic Justice League. Plus, I feel like Justice League's done pretty well with its crossovers lately. The Godzilla X calling its Justice League was a banger for sure.
Yeah, that was another one. And we've got also the release, because I read the first issue in the comic shop I was visiting. I'm waiting for trade on this one, The Turtles of Grayskull.
Oh, yeah, I got it. Oh, I got to pick that one up. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, I'm definitely in to review that one, too, when it comes out. I'm definitely in for that. So, but yeah, going back to this one, I did enjoy it though. Like to see a little bit more. It's a quick story. It's fairly tight. We get the Rangers traveling to, and Billy Lake makes it pretty clear they haven't traveled in time. It's a alternate universe, which would make sense. That Usagi Yojimbo does not take place in the same timeline, I would think, as the majority of the Power Ranger stories. The Rangers are kind of tricked into thinking Usagi is a villain. They go after him. We do get to see Usagi kind of house the Rangers a little bit, which was kind of cool, I think. What did you think about that?
I like that, seeing how good Usagi is skilled, because I was like, dude, he's gonna house the... He's at least going to, like... I thought at the bare minimum he was going to, drop one or two of the Rangers, but actually get the drop and, beat down, almost the whole team. That kind of... It's like watching, like when Batman beat down the Turtles.
Yeah, it was very similar, yes.
But this one I give credit to, unlike the Batman Ninja Turtle fight, because here it's like Usagi's a veteran swordsman, and they're still young superheroes. They've been through a lot, but they're still a bunch of young heroes who depend more on their energy weapons than, skill. Like they depend on, that armor and skill and stuff Zordon gave them and training, but Usagi doesn't have any of that. He is an old man who has seen, tons of war.
For sure, right. And, typically most of the Rangers' monsters and stuff that they fight are slower than they are and not as skilled fighters. So to take on somebody who had a much faster reaction time than they're seeing, and as you said, was a much more veteran fighter, it kind of made sense that things went down the way that they did.
Yeah. Also, did the dragon look like Shenron to you?
Yes, very much so. I was thinking that looked very much like Shenron. So we get to the end of the story. The villain unleashes this dragon, like an Asian dragon. It looks like Shenron, and it was pretty cool that they went with the Dragon Zord in battle mode. I know sometimes it's called the Mega Dragon Zord, but that's a different thing in this series. But you know what I'm talking about, where the Dragon Zord combines with several of the other Zords, and the T-Rex is still separate. So that was kind of cool to see those two fight. It was short, but it was cool to see. I really did enjoy that little nod there.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that too. I will say that I think the villain was just kind of there, even though he's he's a human there, and they give a half-assed reason why a human somehow got to the world of Usagi and could use magic. I was like, all right, it should have been Jay.
No, for sure. He was fine. He didn't drag the story down, but to say he was just kind of there is pretty accurate. You could have placed any generic pull him off the shelf villain type person and put him in that role, I feel like.
Yeah. So maybe this will lead to a sequel. I mean, we've gotten 3 Usagi Ninja Turtle crossovers? 4?
It definitely could. They left the door open for more. They foreshadowed, I wouldn't say teased maybe, but foreshadowed a possibility of another crossover, which I would be in for. This one I did enjoy enough that I would like to see more from it, and maybe that's where we get a Usagi Ranger. I was also surprised that the Rangers got an upgrade to their morphed forms in this universe. Yeah,
and also I love the joke that's how did we... Don't question it. Don't let...
Yeah. I was like, just roll with it. Just roll with it. But that was kind of cool, too, I think. Although I was also surprised it made them more heavily armored when it was kind of showing that it was their speed against... Not they're fighting Usagi again, but their speed might have been a detriment in this universe, or lack of that. So to make them more heavily armored, it was like, oh, really? But I guess at the same time, they're better protected that way, so...
Yeah. So I guess, since Usagi's now, gotten a second IP crossover, because he's basically part of the Turtles universe in one way or another.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think could cross over with Usagi now that we've had this door open a little further for Usagi?
Okay, so I'm going to drop at least one on you that I would love to see. Not a character who's typically in comics, but he is appearing in a miniseries that's currently running. How about Usagi Yojimbo and Samurai Jack?
I would really like that. I think it depends on if Paramount and Warner Brothers can play nice.
They have in the past.
Yeah, so, that's true.
It's possible.
I think it's possible. IDW and Dynamite, I don't think they've ever worked together. I want to say they have, but I can't remember where. I think it would be... I do love the idea, though. I absolutely love, because Samurai Jack, and I actually have this old picture of a Usagi and Samurai Jack, like, swords out, standing side by side.
Cool. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. They're very similar characters. And, well, Usagi's OP. Jack is also OP. Any fans of the show know that, for sure.
Yeah. Like, a sword fight between those two would be amazing. And also, like, to see Usagi use Jack's sword.
Yes, right. Like, how cool would that be?
Yeah, and you'd have to use Jay and have him with Aku in that one.
Of course. I was about to say, you need Aku in there as a villain. So there's one I'd like to see. I'm going to throw another one at you from Dynamite. How about Usagi Red Sonja?
I think that would be a lot of fun. I know, like, really the rabbit, and I'm like, Red Sonja crossed over with Mars Attacks and fucking Betty and Veronica. It's in the realm of possibility. And I think people don't give Usagi Yojimbo enough credit of being a serious story.
No, I think a lot of people, like, my first introduction to him was back, like, on the late 80s TMNT show, where it was definitely not even what it was by season 1 at that point. So I thought he was, like, more of, like, a joke character. But anybody who reads the comics, like, it's a serious story. You know, he's, like, a badass warrior. So it would fit the mold for Sonja, who's run into, like you said, Mars Attacks, you know, and other odd characters where it's not out of the realm of possibility. And honestly, some of the Red Sonja crossovers are usually really good. Like, her Spider-Man crossover was really good. The Witchblade one was solid. The Mars Attacks one is one of the best Mars Attacks crossovers there is, I would say. Yeah,
absolutely. I agree with that. So yeah, Red Sonja would be cool. How about, like, if they get in touch with Titan and do a Conan one?
Conan would be good too. Yes, that would fit as well. Could also definitely work.
Yeah.
Just like Red Sonja.
Now let me throw this one at you. These two independent characters crossing over, because I think it would be really cool. Hellboy with Usagi.
Actually, I think Hellboy's a great idea. Hellboy's traveled to alternate dimensions before. It's like kind of part of his lore. He's also like a no-nonsense character for the most part. Actually, I really like the Hellboy idea. Hellboy idea is really good.
Yeah, and he's been to a universe, like, he traveled into the Japanese underworld before, so yeah. You could have it like them battling like Oni together or something of that nature. And it's like Stan Sakai and Mike Mignola are like pillars of the independent community. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, that makes so much sense. I would definitely be in for that one.
Could you just imagine like a comic, this comic with the artwork like Mike Mignola's take on Usagi?
So I was just thinking Mike Mignola's take on Usagi would be badass. I couldn't wait to see it.
Yeah. Now, another one I'd like to see is another independent creator, but I don't think they're going to work together because I don't think their personalities would go well. I would like a Spawn Usagi one.
I would too. In particular, medieval Spawn would be cool, I feel like.
There is a samurai Spawn.
There is, but in this case, I'd kind of like to see the East-West type of confrontation there. I think would be cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think Todd McFarlane and Stan Sakai would get along.
No. Well, McFarlane's been a little bit better about expanding into other things recently, but yeah, he's still Todd McFarlane, so I'm not so sure it'll work out.
Yeah. What about this one? I would like to see, and this would be kind of cool, maybe Batman Usagi?
Batman works with anybody. So yeah, I'd be in for Batman Usagi. I mean, we've seen Batman... Look, who would have thought that Batman versus Albert Fudd would be such a good comic as it was?
Did you know that got re-released as a special edition?
No, was it?
I was in my comic shop just perusing, and I see Batman Albert Fudd, the director's cut, on the rack.
Oh, I've got to get that, because the original was surprisingly good. So, you know, I kind of bought it thinking it'd be just like, like a cheesy joke comic. I was like, wow, it's actually really good. So, no, I'll have to get that. But yeah, Batman Usagi, absolutely. Again, Batman, you can kind of cross over with anybody and it works. Like, we're getting Sonic in Batman, for goodness sake, or Shadow, it looks like. So, yeah, Usagi.
Yeah. That would be another one I think would be fun, is Sonic and Usagi.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. Sonic could bring a little bit more of a comedic feel to the comic, but still overall, I think it worked really well together.
Yeah, I think I would love this scene where like they're fighting and Sonic's like thinking he's got. It's like that scene with Flash and Superman and Justice League, where it's like he thinks he's getting the drop on Usagi. He's just boom, the sword's right at Sonic's neck, and he's just like, "How did you do that?"
Yes, yeah, I think that'd be really fun. How about this one came to mind when you had asked me, what about the character Grendel?
Grendel?
Yeah, the like assassin character Grendel.
Yeah.
Crossed over with Batman, had a really good crossover Matt Wagner did with the Shadow.
Yeah, that was not one that'd be on my bingo card. I think it would be interesting. That's not one I would think of, but I think I would be kind of like, the more I think about it, I was like, yeah, that could be kind of cool. I think again, it just kind of falls in that whole thing of like, I think people just don't take Usagi seriously because it's a rabbit samurai.
Right, most people think like Looney Tunes type crossover, not like the Elmer Fudd Batman when we talked about, just like they think he falls into like that Looney Tune category when that's not the case.
Yeah,
he's a much more serious character.
It's more like Akira Kurosawa with anthropomorphic animals.
Yes, very much so. Hey, what about one of your favorites, Mars Attacks?
I would absolutely kill for a Mars Attacks one. That would be really cool. I think that would be so much fun just to if it can be like, I think the best Mars Attacks crossover for me, and you're gonna think this is dumb, I think the best Mars Attacks crossover that ever happened was Mars Attacks Popeye.
No, I agree with you, actually. I really like that one. It's out of digital, so I can't get it anymore, which sucks, but I really like the Mars Attacks Popeye. I thought it was really fun. I would put it as number one. I would probably put that as number one and Red Sonja as number two.
Yeah. I think also, if we could figure out what if we could do this, I think it would be kind of cool to see Tarzan Usagi.
Tarzan would be pretty cool because he's also a very serious character. Like, a lot of people don't realize how vicious Tarzan is unless you've read like the original books or like the Dynamite comics, where like he's like Wolverine level vicious, if not more so.
Yeah. Speaking of Red Sonja, that Tarzan Red Sonja one by Gail Simone is awesome. I don't know if you ever read it.
I have not. It's on my I have it on my wish list to pick it up very soon because I do love both those characters, and like I said, most Red Sonja crossovers are really good. So I'd be in for that. Let me throw another one at you. What about Usagi Yojimbo on the Planet of the Apes?
That's a good one, but I don't know if Marvel would go for it.
Oh, that's right. I forgot Marvel's got that now. Dang it. Let's think about that.
What about? Oh, I just had it too. I would not be opposed to like Hack Slash.
Hack Slash is a good idea. I think you'd have to do where like Usagi came to our world with some creatures from his world, and Cassie and Vlad were kind of hunting him down and came across Usagi. Although like Usagi whooped Cassie and Vlad's ass, no doubt about it.
Yeah, like I could just imagine the jokes. Like, did you just crawl? Like, what furry convention did you come from?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I'd be in for that. I'm trying to think if there's any other characters that jump to mind that would be cool to see with Usagi. Anybody else coming to mind for you?
I think if they could get this, if Titan Books and BBC would be cool with it, I would not be opposed to Doctor Who and Usagi.
How would you do that one?
I think I would do it like maybe the Doctor has found like a wormhole to the Usagi's world and discovered that like maybe the Cybermen or the Daleks have just been converting this era of Japan into like a into like some kind of machine factory.
That would be pretty cool. I could see that working. I'd say the one we won't get because it's Marvel now, but would have made perfect sense is Predator.
Oh, Predator would have been so good. I was thinking Predator, but I was like, no, that's Marvel.
Yeah, that's why I'm just throwing out there. It won't happen because Marvel could barely get their own in-house crossover off the ground. So, yeah, it's not going to happen, unfortunately.
What about Usagi Terminator?
I could see it, but how would you make it work?
Dude, why didn't we think of this sooner? You know, you talked about Samurai Jack. could we get like Johnny Quest in Usagi?
Johnny Quest would be cool. Johnny Quest is another underrated character I'd like to see more from. Like Future Quest was a fantastic read.
Yeah. I would even love like Space Ghost in Usagi, like Usagi being shot into space.
Yeah, I mean he's a character who works kind of anywhere in Usagi, the way he's written for the most part.
Yeah, but I think the one I really want the most, if we're gonna go through the list, it's Usagi Hellboy.
Yeah, I'd have to say Usagi Hellboy. When you said that one, I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It was my suggestion, I know, but I would put Red Sonja up there too. I feel like Red Sonja Usagi would be a very fun crossover as well.
Oh yeah, that's my number 2. To, like Usagi, Redstone. Okay, the top 3 I think of the 3 that we've thought of is Usagi, Hellboy, Usagi and Sonya, and Usagi and Samurai Jack. Those are the top 3 right there.
Yes, yeah. I imagine the first 2 are potentially doable. The third one, like you said, not undoable. Warner's been willing to cross over with stuff, but the first 2, I think there's a decent shot they could happen. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the Hellboy one I'd really like to see. Yeah, I mean, I just love Hellboy in general. Like, I'd love to see that.
And Usagi is technically under Dark Horse too, so
this is true. So, they could potentially do it.
Yeah, I don't see a reason not to. I mean, I think those 2 characters have been pillars of Dark Horse Comics for decades. So to have them finally meet in a crossover, it would make so much sense, and no one would question it.
No, like you said, it totally works. We've seen Hellboy in similar situations before, and Usagi taking on things like demons and stuff. It doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility for him, so why not?
Yeah. Yeah, so anything else you want to add to this, Matt?
No, again, overall, I would recommend the Power Rangers crossovers for any fan of either franchise. And if you're not familiar with Usagi, it is a good kind of like tease for what he's like. You know, if you do consider him to be like a joke character, this shows off like what a butt kicker he is. So it'd be a good maybe entry way for you into his series.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So you guys tell us in the comments below, what Usagi Yojimbo crossovers you'd like? What did you guys think of the comic on a whole? Matt, thank you so much for coming on board for this video. It's always great to have you. I will say, just to let you guys know, once... I don't know if Matt read the Batman Dylan Dog crossover.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I loved it.
Alright, so I guess I'll have him on there when I finish the book.
Definitely, I'd love to come back for that one.
Yeah. Batman Dylan Dog, we're going to do, when that comes out in trade, Godzilla Power Rangers 2, and we're also going to do Ultraman event. We're going to do all the crossovers. Whenever there's a crossover comic, Matt's going to be here. Let's just say that.
I'm in. I love doing crossover comics. Yep.
Yep. Anyway, so once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.